Hi, Nancy. Oh, this is funny. So hey there, okay, so I am now having to tilt my head. I didn't go out, I actually went onto Amazon and I got myself, it's this. Okay, remember I was talking last week how I didn't have one of these. So, hey there, oh my gosh, welcome back. Oh good, I'm glad I look upright too. All your comments are coming in sideways. So, I got this, it's part selfie stick, yeah, and part tripod. So look at me, I don't even really know how to be very techie. So anyway, but here I am and I'm trying this new device out. We'll see how this works. But thank you to those who were able to join me. I know this is an earlier time and normally it will be 4 o'clock, but I have an appointment after school today and I didn't want to miss out seeing you guys and talking about starting off our year. So for those of you who have never heard of whole brain teaching, I'm Andrea Schindler from Whole Brain Teaching. Right? I'm trying. We'll see how that goes. The second I have to move this somewhere, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try my best. So my name's Andrea Schindler, Whole Brain Teaching. If you're brand new to Whole Brain Teaching, let me tell you, you're in a good place. We are our own little professional learning community of teachers that are utilizing whole brain teaching strategies. And if you stick with us for a long time, you'll see it's always evolving and getting better and being refined, which is because instead of this being a movement coming from the outside in, it's grassroots, it's teachers in the classroom. Tried, tested, and true. What I'm going to talk to you about today is what I just did this morning, what I started out with last week. So with all that said, woo woo, year 9. That's awesome. See, we've got some people hanging around for a while so they can tell you it's always going to be getting better and more fine-tuned. So if you are new to whole brain teaching, I would absolutely suggest that you check out the Whole Brain Teaching website, www.wholebrainteaching.com. You're going to find a ton of resources there, all free resources, all free downloads, videos of whole brain teaching in the classroom. And here's the greatest thing, Coach B has made it where it's ad-free, advertisement-free, so there will be no pop-ups. You're not going to click on a download and end up somewhere else. Yay, free! So, yes, if you haven't checked out the website, check it out. If you want to go deeper with us, we have the certification and, of course, Coach B's 2 awesome books, Teaching Challenging Kids and our brand new Fast Track. All tons and tons of information there. But if you want to keep updated on what's going on, go to the Facebook page. We've got our Whole Brain Teaching Facebook page. And then if you want to talk to other grade level teachers who are using Whole Brain Teaching, we've got our closed groups. So you can find Whole Brain Teaching Kinder, 1st and 2nd, 3rd. We go all the way up through the grade levels and you can find a closed group, Facebook group, just for you, so you can be a part of our learning community. So, as I said before, and thanks to you who were able to join me here live. If you weren't able to join me here live and you're catching this on the replay, I'm happy to see ya. And funny story, Dad, Mom, if you're out there, I'm saying hi because last week, ooh, awesome! Oh, you're going to start that fire, my friend, and get it going on your campus. Sorry, again, if you're just joining me, when I tilt my head, it's because my comments are going this way. So that's good with my new techie stuff. But funny story, my dad and my mom saw me last week, and they've never seen one of these. So they might be catching this on the replay. So hello out there. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. And funny story. My mom was the one who actually inspired me to become a teacher. She was a kindergarten teacher for 30 plus years, and I decided to join that insanity and that special world. In fact, she's going to be my first Alpha Hawk. She doesn't know that yet. So if she does catch this and catches when we do the Alpha Hawk, she'll get to learn all about that. But enough about me. I've already said way too much. And one of our common phrases around whole brain teaching is how as teachers, we talk way too much. So that's what I'm doing right now. We want to give the kids a chance to talk and use the information that they've learned. I won't be able to interact with you that way, but if you ever go to a whole brain teaching conference, you'll see it's like no other conference. We use the strategies during the conference. Teachers are up, they're talking, and they're teaching their neighbors. But since today is going to be a kind of long Periscope, after this, hopefully we can scale it down. But I just feel like I can't drag out the first week of school for several weeks because most of you, if you haven't started already, are getting started. So I can't be talking about the first week of school in 4 or 5 weeks. So if you have some time, great. If not, and you need to jump off and get back to the replay, that's totally fine. Last week's Periscope, we talked about setting up, I love our conference. Yes, I love our national conference, 3 days, 2 to 3 days, depends on the venue. And it's us talking all things whole brain teaching and breaking up into breakout groups based on your grade level. That's another thing you can find on that website is the schedule for conferences coming up. So, moving right along, last week on our Periscope, I talked about setting up your classroom so you're going to be ready to start off the year with whole brain teaching. Because as we know, as teachers, we've got to be very well prepared. So this week, I'm going to be talking to you about how can we start off those first days of school. Now this is primarily, well, I shouldn't say primarily. I usually go for the kindergarten audience because let's face it, we're our own special world, so we got to make some tweaks and adjustments. But in case you're here with a different grade level, just hang on in there because I'm going to show you what you can do to move up the pace a little bit. In kindergarten, we got to go slow to go fast, and I got to tell you, actually, all the grade levels at the beginning of the year, we got to go slow to go fast. We want to teach these strategies and these routines really, really well before we move on to the next strategy. So let's take a look at what we're up to today. Okay, here is where my techie skills are going to be. We'll see how it goes. Woo, and I'm moving. Okay, hopefully I am not making you dizzy. Oh, hey Tina, good to see you. Oh, awesome. Okay, so hopefully I'm catching you in time. This is going to be a 2-page list. It's really long, guys, but there's a lot to talk about. So, and then of course, as I went through, I thought, oh, I forgot to add this. I forgot to add that. The very first thing I forgot to start with up here is our games list, which we talked about last week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about today. In future Periscopes, we'll talk more in depth, but here's my games list, okay? And this basically is going to be your place where you're going to be showing, I'm learning how to use this stick, guys, so if I'm making you dizzy, I'm so sorry. But this is basically your area right here where you are going to have your schedule for the day. And you're going to talk about the games that you're going to be playing for the day. So let me give you an example. This is where I am at currently. The first day of school, we wouldn't have so much information. But let's take a look. See, my games list today starts in with our coming in the door game, our attendance game, then our scoreboard game, our rules game, our call-outs game. Then we go to our morning routine. And if you zoom in here, you can see my focus during the morning routine is my class yes. At this point, I'm on week 2. I'm going to throw in a few more foci. So I've got my phonemic awareness here, and I'm going to focus on mirror words. But I'm going to tell you those first days of school, I'm not focusing on class yes, mirror words, tell your neighbor, talk to your neighbor, and rule 1. I'm going to start with one thing at a time. So how is that going to look? Well, if I'm starting off the first day, I need to be at those kiddos' attention and get it right away, right? Am I right? We want them to be able to stop what they're doing. We want them to be able to look at their teacher and fold their hands, and that's going to be tricky. So you're going to see throughout the whole, I'm holding it upside down, throughout the whole day, I'm only focusing on the class yes. So for the first day of school, it's going to look so. I'm going to have class yes going all the way down. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't think I got to all of this on the first day. My very first day, we literally did all of our routines and learned what to do, and our cleanup routine and our rule 1. I think we made it to 1 read aloud. Teaching, we say it's your classroom, but I'm going to tell you guys, we go deep. We are practicing each one of these strategies so that they've got it down and they're ready to go on to the next strategy. So that's the games list, and that's really going to be that place you go back to throughout your day to keep you on track and keep the kiddos on track. So what do we start out with? Well, I'm going to tell you. So those of you who are not from kindergarten, you can be very thankful that this probably isn't your world. But in kindergarten, when we start out, there is a lot of crying sometimes. There is a lot of trauma sometimes. So the best thing we can do is get those kiddos in the door and just sitting somewhere so that we can kind of bring some calm to the chaos, okay? Those of you who are not in kindergarten, you're saying hallelujah, I don't have to deal with that. But as soon as I can bring that calm to the chaos, and one of my personal things that I have picked up is I don't bring the parents in the door with the kids. That separation seems harder. You guys, it's your classroom. If you like to have the parents in and then rip that cord, if that works better for you, that's fine. For me, I've noticed if I can have the parent, it's kind of like a scoop in the door. They get them to the front door and scoop them in the door at the same time I'm closing the door and they're slipping out. So kindergarten, its own special world. But once we get that calm to that chaos, let me tell you, so I'm assuming you have parents, and I gotta tell you, the years that I had parents stay, it was such a harder separation. But once we have that calm down, we start our day like we would start the beginning of the day, the coming in the door routine. So as we're coming in the door, we're going to have a whole routine set up there. So I talk to the kids about what does that look like. Once I've got them calm and ready to go, we go back outside, parents are gone, we line up on that line. Now this is where all my other grade levels could easily be joining me, because one of the first things that I teach my students, and I know Coach B has talked about this in his book, before we even walk in the door, we're starting out with our please okay. So before we're even walking in the door, the kids are in the line. I'm telling them in the line. When I taught 2nd and 3rd grade, we did it outside before they came in. Kinder, I can't do that. I got to get them in the door first. And so we start out where I teach them what the please okay is. And I give them some simple commands. When I say please, you're going to say okay. So I might say, stand on the line, please. They say, okay. Look at me, please. They say, okay. And we're practicing just that, please, okay, while they're standing on that line. As we teach them what to do, yes. And we're already starting with glorious kindness. Look at us go. So as we get them coming in the door, and to where they have learned what they do when they come in the door. So the kiddos, when they come in, they move their tag from home to school, they shake my hand, they put up their backpack, and then they go to their seats. So we've got a lot of things going on with that routine. And anyone out there who knows, kindergartners need it broken down into tiny steps. So this is why we spend a lot of time just teaching, how am I going to come in the door, put away my things, and sit on the carpet. But for everybody else in all your other worlds, you just want to make sure you're going to roll out right away teaching that please okay, preferably in your line outside. So where do we go from there? Well, let's take a look. So next, we are moving on to, we got to get that class yes. So this is, yes, I do know. This is some micro steps of what to do for your class. Yes, I saw a picture out there. I can also tip this way. Hopefully I'm not making you dizzy if anyone wants to get that whole list. But we're just going to talk about the class yes. So I'm moving back in 3, 2, 1. Very, very important, and it has to be taught explicitly. So what are we talking about? Teach the micro steps. So I teach the kiddos at the beginning of the year, when the teacher says class, you say yes. I can't speak German. Class, they say yes, class, yes, and I teach them the steps of what I want them to do with the class yes. So I teach them, these are 3 micro steps. Oh yeah, check it out, my friend. We're talking all things kinder right now. So we're gonna do 3 steps. Stop. Here's my first thing I'll tell you before going in. It'll get better. So just slow and steady is the pace, my friend. So the steps that I teach for the class yes is when the teacher says class and you say yes, stop what you're doing, look at the teacher, and fold your hands. So we kind of go through, oh, for your little one is going to kinder. I'm so sorry. Well, tell your kinder that he's going to have an amazing year, and tell him that he is going to meet a lot of friends and there's going to be a lot of surprises. Kinder is a very special world, and I really hope that you have a really good kindergarten teacher this year, because let me tell you, this is where the magic happens. So, as I was saying, we're going to say, stop what you're doing, look at the teacher, fold your hands. And we practice all 3 of those steps. Stop what you're doing, look at the teacher, and fold your hands. Your micro steps may be different, but you want to roll out right away with that attention getter, because you're going to be using it all day. So we do micro practice where they practice being busy. I call them back, and they have to stop, look, and fold their hands. And of course we say, right? I know, crazy. So we do this as a game to see how fast they can stop what they're doing, look at me, and fold their hands. So what better way to gauge this than our scoreboard? I forgot something, so let's take a look. As you can see right here, I squished in. How am I going to teach the micro steps of stop what you're doing, look at your teacher, and fold your hands? Well, I thought of my scoreboard, but friends, we got to be doing mirror words. When I'm teaching these micro steps, I got to teach them how to do the mirror words. So when I'm doing my mirror words, I'm going to teach them, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to get faster at this, I promise. All right, so for mirror words, I say mirror words, they say mirror words. Now, you know in kindergarten, sometimes doing mirror words right away is too fast. So we just start with mirror practice. So I'll say mirror. And then, of course, it's the first day, and then I say mirror, too slow, put them away, mirror. And we start doing some mirroring gestures. They gesture with me, and then I say words. Repeat what I say. Stop, and they say stop. If they don't repeat, say, I can't hear you, stop what you're doing. Look at the teacher, fold your hands. So you're gonna use your mirror words to be able to teach all the steps of the class yes. Now, when you're doing that micro practice, what are you going to use to say if they're going too slow or too fast or too slow or fast enough, okay? We're going to use our scoreboard. So we've got our smiley face on this side, our saddy face on this side. So the next thing I roll out with is this scoreboard game. And if you want to know more about this scoreboard game, you're definitely going to have to check out the Whole Brain Teaching website, or come check us out for some future Periscopes, because we don't have time to go in depth about this, but this is my tool that is going to teach, and we lost lights. Sorry, guys. There we go. Real life over here in this classroom. So this is my tool that I'm going to use. Oh, too slow, mighty grown. Too slow, mighty grown. Good job. That was fast. 1 second party. A little bit louder. 1 second party. So I got to teach how to use the scoreboard. Anyone out there who's kinder can see why my first day I have a ton of stuff to teach, and it usually takes pretty much the whole day, because this in and of itself, teaching what the smiley points mean and the saddy points mean, it takes a little bit of time and a lot of practice in our little world of kinder. But this is what I'm going to use to motivate my students all day long, starting right off the bat with our class yes. So we've started out, we've done our please okay, we've done our class yes, we have done our mirror words to teach how to do the steps of the class yes, we've done our scoreboard. Where do we go from there? Well, let's take a look. We are going to do our rules. So for our rules, in pre-K up to kindergarten, we're going to do 1 rule a day. First grade teachers out there, I'm going to tell you, it's up to you. I've never taught second grade or first grade. I've taught second grade and up, and when I taught second grade and the grade levels above, I taught all the rules on the first day of school. So I've taught kinder, I've taught second, I've taught third. I've never done first grade. So first grade teachers, you're going to have to gauge that. But I would say pre-K kinder, we need to teach 1 rule a day. First grade, up to you. Second grade and up, you can teach all the rules on the first day of school. But you're not just teaching what the rule is. We're going to do some practice. So for our big rule, we're going to practice what listening bodies look like. All day long, we're going to practice that big rule. What's the big rule? Listen when your teacher is talking. And that big rule is a whole brain teaching kindergarten only rule. So I talked to my kids about crisscross applesauce and hands in their lap and sitting up tall with a bubble in their mouth. And we practice that all day long. For rule 1, we're going to do our fast and slow practice of following directions quickly. How does that look? Let me tell you. Student teaching kindergarten, what will you implement if you were me? I would start exactly where I'm at right now, my friend. I think your student teaching, you can start exactly with what I'm telling you. Start with these few strategies and then add more as the year, as your semester goes on. So here's our big rule, which is listen when your teacher is talking. And we practice what those, yes, we do, what those listening bodies look like. And then sometimes I say, show me your preschool bodies. Show me second grade, because we're always thinking, looking, and acting 2 grade levels higher. The greatest thing is when we get to our rule 1 day, following directions quickly, we want to see how fast can they follow a direction, how slow. So this is when our Peregrine Falcon display comes into effect. So if you were here last week, you got to see my Peregrine, which is up here at the top of my classroom, and it has different speeds. So on our rule 1 day, when we were practicing following directions slowly and practicing following directions quickly, we did some practice of how do we sit like a second grader at turtle speed? How do we sit like a second grader at wolf speed? How do we stand up at turtle speed? How do we stand up at wolf speed? And if you're on our close, the fast slow practice with the wolf and the wolf versus turtle. So you'll get to see them doing their bodies up, their crisscross applesauce, practicing those listening bodies, and they're doing it as fast as a wolf and then as slow as a turtle. And as the year goes on, of course, I'm going to bump up how quickly we're moving. So where do we go from there? I'm trying to move you guys quickly because my bell is going to ring, and I want to make sure I get through the rest of this. So let's see. We're going to be practicing our rules 2 and 3. Raise your hand for permission to speak and raise your hand for permission to leave your seat. We're going to do right way, wrong way practice. So you're going to have them practice how to follow those rules the right way and how to practice those rules the wrong way. Same thing for make smart choices. We're going to do some right way, wrong way that our students haven't already exhibited. Otherwise, you're going to give them some ideas. We don't want to give them ideas. All right, when we are first introducing that rule 4, we're introducing the character virtues so that they know the name of them. So on my day 5, when I taught make smart choices, or even if it was my first day of school, I'm going to teach them the names of those I'm going to teach them what are smart choices. I'm going to teach them glorious kindness, leadership, courage, glorious kindness, leadership, courage, invincible grit, creativity. So at this point, my kids know the names of the character virtues, but I'm waiting to teach them in depth until I have a full week with them, because that's when I'm going to roll out that character virtue calendar. When I have a full week, I'm going to roll it out, because on Monday, I'm going to concentrate on teaching in depth glorious kindness. Tuesday, leadership. Wednesday, courage. Thursday, invincible grit. And Friday is a little creativity. So that's going to be rolling out next week, which will be our first full week where we haven't learned one new rule each day. Now, if you're in second grade and above, you teach all the rules the first day, keep practicing those rules all week long. The following week, you're ready to roll out that character virtue calendar. Let's take a look at. So after we've taught rule number 4 and the character virtues, we've got rule number 5. What keeps your learning community happy? So we are going to talk about what keeps that learning community happy. In our class, we talk about what makes us happy. Well, you're learning. You learn. And how do we learn? We got to say it and do it to learn it. So we've got to say the words to these chants. We've got to do the gestures if our brains are going to learn it. This is a really good day also to do the please stop routine. So what does that look like? So we talk about if someone's bothering you or interrupting your learning, that doesn't keep your dear community happy. So we're going to tell them, but we're going to use glorious kindness. So I teach them they can say things like, please stop, talk to me at recess. Or please stop, stay in your own square if they are touching their neighbor in their own square, which happens. What's great is it goes right into all of our all of the steps of our glorious kindness character virtue. So how does that look? One student says, please stop, talk to me at recess. The other student says, okay. It goes back to the first student who says, thank you. And the other person says, you're welcome. And we're doing our manners practice while telling someone to please stop. So I'm moving on and I'm at rapid little rocket pace. My bell's about to ring. We're almost due. Hey guys, sorry about that. I lost the connectivity here. We'll give everybody a minute to rejoin us. I apologize. Having a little bit of some technical difficulties out here. So we're finishing up our talk. It was a pretty long talk, but we're talking about, of course, I feel really bad. Getting used to these new little technical things here, but not super great at it, just figuring it out. So I'm Andrea Schindler from Whole Brain Teaching. We're back. We're talking about those first days of school. Hey Meredith, good to see you. We're talking about those first days of school and what we're going to do. And we have been talking about how we're going to go through and we're going to intentionally teach each one of those rules. If you're in pre-K, TK, or kindergarten, we're going to do one rule a day. First grade, I'm saying it's up to you. I need some first grade experts out there to rein in on that. I've never taught first grade, so I don't know if you need one new rule a day. But I know from second grade up, I taught all the rules on the first day. But we're not just teaching what the rules are. We're actually teaching this deeply so that the kids understand what do these rules mean. And we were moving on to the last rule, the diamond rule. Let's take a look here. Oh, and good. I did not lose you. Okay, so our diamond rule here, we're going to do a little bit of target practice. And what does that look like? Well, today actually was my diamond rule. I can talk about this because this is very fresh, but I can show you. Here's a picture of a little target. This has helped me out a lot in the the first day, but a little slower in first. Okay, that helps me out, Nancy, because I almost taught first, but then didn't teach first. I know second grade, I could teach all those rules the first day. But I don't know. I wasn't sure how first grade worked. So I've got my target. Remember, the diamond rule is keep your eyes on the target. And so I use this target, and we do some target practice throughout the day. So how does that work? Well, I'm just being intentional and pausing throughout the day, talking to the students. Okay, if Miss Schindler's talking right now, where's your target? That's right, it's on me. Okay, if I'm reading a book, and I put this target on the book. Okay, guys, now where is the target? Okay, it's on the book. If we're going over our morning message, I'm going to pin this up with a clip next to my morning message. Now where's the target, guys? It's on that morning message. So they can see that that target is going to move. And now they're getting used to, when they tell their neighbor information, to look for that target by looking at their neighbor, because now their neighbor is their target. So on Diamond Rule Day, or when you teach Diamond Rule, you're going to want to do a little bit of target practice. So first day and or first weeks, you're teaching all those rules deeply, but we've got to be able to use, because as is happening right now, but there's no way around it, as teachers, we talk way too much. Talking too much, the kids are going to get lost. As Coach B says, the more we talk, the more students we lose. So we've got to teach them how to take a little bit of information using our mirrors and words, and then share that information and be able to use that information by saying it and gesturing it and hearing it from a neighbor. So in that first, you cannot leave out, tell your neighbor. If you are in pre-K, TK, or K, you're doing tell your neighbor. But if you're in any of the grades above, you can roll out by teaching them the teach okay. So I give them information to tell their neighbor, or you give them information and they teach their neighbor with the teach okay. Well, I'll just start right back where we started from with that attention grabber with the class yes. So I teach them, when I say class, you say yes, class, yes, class, yes. Okay, then I teach them the mirror words. Okay, when I say mirror, you're going to make a mirror with me. Mirror. Too slow, put them away. Mirror. Up, I need you a little bit faster. Mirror. There you go. And we practice doing some mirroring with them. Okay. Then I say words. Do. And they say do. My. Gestures. Say my words. Say my words. Okay. When the teacher, and then they repeat, when the teacher says class, I say yes. Now, those of you who don't teach kindergarten are so happy you do not have to go this slow, but we need to when they're this small. Look at your neighbor. That's a person next to you. Look at me. So now I've got to do some neighbor practice so that they know who the neighbor is sitting next to them. Second grade and above, so easy. I just teach them. Anyone whose seat is touching your seat, that can be your neighbor. So when they were in quads, they could look this way or they could look that way. It was really simple. Kinder, I got to really show them, okay, anyone whose square is touching your square can be your neighbor. So we do a little tell your neighbor practice. So I have them turn to a neighbor and say something. Turn to a neighbor, look at me. Turn to a neighbor, look at me. Turn to a neighbor, say hello, neighbor. I'm so glad you're here, neighbor. So they do a little neighbor practice. And after they do their neighbor practice, that's when I'm going to give them information by calling them back. Class, yes. Look at me, please. Okay. Listen to me, please. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. And then I'm going to do mirror, do a little mirror practice. Words. When the teacher, and they say, when the teacher says class, we say yes. First, oh, let me see that one in the air. First, stop. I said stop. So now they're saying and repeating what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Look at your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, when our teacher, and they say it, when our teacher says class, we say yes. First, stop what you're doing. So I'm just giving you this little shtick so you can see kinder teachers, we're breaking it teeny, tiny, teeny, tiny. If I'm teaching second grade, I'm going to say, class, yes, mirror words, mirror words. When our teacher says class, and they repeat when our teacher says class, we say yes, first, stop what you're doing. And they say, first, stop what you're doing. I'm going to call the class back, class, and then I do my teach. They say, okay, and they're going to turn to their neighbor and teach over and over again. When the teacher says class and we say yes, we got to stop what we're doing. When the teacher says class and we say yes, we got to stop what we're doing. So this is how we're going to bump it up and make it faster as we go up the grade levels. And yes, Nancy's right. We've got complete and total engagement. At the beginning, the students are more dependent on us, especially with the younger students. But as the year goes on, we're going to wean them off that. Before we know it, our little ones are going to be doing the teach okay. Before you know it, your leaders in your class are going to be standing up, calling the class, and teaching their own whole brain teaching lesson. Can I get an uh-huh? Because that's pretty exciting. So we're winding it down to the last things we want to make sure we hit and cover before the end of the first school day. So let's take a look. Of course, we've got our 3-peats. So what are our 3-peats? Those are any routines that we do. I say it one time, they say it back 3 times, and they do that routine. So what does that look like? They say crayons. Maybe I might say blue crayon. They say blue crayon, blue crayon, blue crayon, and they hold up a blue crayon. I might say bodies up. That's when they stand up. They say bodies up, bodies up, bodies up, and they stand up. Seats, 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 seats. Lines, 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 lines. So you're going to practice those 3-peats. Any routines that you do, you're going to practice. You say it one time, they repeat it back to you 3 times, and they do that procedure. Now I will tell you that any procedure, that's the best part, Nancy. It makes our procedures really quick. They're following directions quickly. The only routines that there's a slight tweak that has kind of worked a little bit out better for kinder. It does take a while when I say backpack. I don't want their mouths when they're in the backpack room like stopping and chatting and not actually grabbing their backpacks. So they say backpack, 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 backpack until they put on their backpack, cubbies, 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 till they grab their stuff, and seats, 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 and then they sit on the carpet. Everything else at this point pretty much can be done with a 3-peat. Things that are close to them, I mean, that blue crayon, you should only need to say it 3 times. Push in your chair, chairs. Those are things we can do in 3-peats. But that walk to the backpack room, to the cubbies, and to the seats is a little bit long. But I will tell you, the kiddos get even better at it about mid-year, and we go to 3-peats. Backpack, backpack, backpack. They're able to be quiet. Can you believe that? Just grab their backpack, cubbies, 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 grab their things out and go to their seats, and it's not a big deal. The beginning of the year, everybody's confused. It's a little bit of mayhem, and we can have kindergarten party in the backpack room, and nobody gets out on time, if you know what I'm saying. So we got to keep that routine moving. And of course, those of you out there who are way better experts than I am know you don't practice the routine, any routine. Don't practice the lining up routine when you actually need to line up. Don't practice the packing up routine when you need to actually pack up at the end of the day. Because learn from me, who had to learn the hard way in kindergarten, you practice those routines when you don't actually have to do them. That way, when they're ready to do the routine and it's the right time of day, you can get it done quickly. I'm telling you, the first day that I had the kids, I taught the kids how to pack up at the end of the day, we were late because you can't teach the routine and actually have them do it at the same time. And yes, Nancy, you're right. This is a perfect opportunity for right way, wrong way practice, and to make it even better and sharper and faster. Once you've taught your rule 1, follow directions quickly, and you've taught them about that Peregrine Falcon display, not only can you incorporate in your right way, wrong way practice, doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way, you can also incorporate right way, which is wolf speed, wrong way, which is turtle slow. And as the year goes on, of course, we're going to push even harder. Now we're not just going at our wolf speed. Now we're going cheetah speed. Oh, I don't think you're ready for black marlin speed. You better hold off. And as the year goes on, you're going faster with your routines. But faster doesn't mean sloppier. faster and more efficient, sharper, and so much better. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. I can't wait to talk about Peregrine Falcon and that display and how it rolls out this year, because this is the first year I'm starting out at the beginning of the year with Peregrine Falcon Land, and already things are going well. So let's wind down. We're going to finish out. Week is going to look like that first day you're teaching those 3-peats. Now, super improver team. In the past, I taught that super improver. I taught about and explained the super improver team and started using my super improver team, which is over here. Okay, I hope you're still there and patient with me. I'm so sorry. Okay. Scroll down at the top to flip it around, but sometimes I do and it opens up all these other pages. So I tell you, again, I'm not the most techie over here. In the past, I used to wait until week 2 for Super Improver team. But several years ago, I started that day 2. Why? Because I tell my students that no matter what, today can always be better than yesterday. You can always improve on something today and do it better today than you did yesterday. And so I've been starting my super improver team day 2. Day 2, guess what? It's got to be better than day 1, right guys? It has to be better than day 1. So I love it day 2 because it even sets the stage for me. Today is going to be better than yesterday. It just has to be. If you want to hold off and wait till week 2, you can, but I just feel like we got to start with improvement right away. So I'm starting that super improver team day 2. You might wait till week 2. I'm going to try to scroll down gently. Look at me go. Okay, and last but not least, at the end of that awesome, momentous, wonderful first week, do not forget to input your student engagement average. That's going to tell you how your kids did at the end of the first week, and it's going to give you a baseline for your engagement average that's going to start off your year the best way possible with whole brain teaching. You're going to be able to see that engagement average go up every single week. So I'm going to take a step back just in case some of you join us. I don't know if there's any other picture takers out there. Here is how we started our year off. We're talking day 1 with our games list, day 1 with our please okay, day 1 with our class yes, thank you Nancy, day 1 with our mirror words, day 1 with our scoreboard, day 1 with our rules. The only difference is pre-KK, you can, how would you approach your, okay, I will come back to you. If you're pre-K to K, pre-K TKK, you're going to do 1 rule a day. First, we've heard maybe 1 a day, or just much slower, taking a longer time during the day to teach all the rules. But 2nd grade and above, you can teach all those rules the first day. But when we teach them, we're going to actually teach how to follow those rules. Imagine that, guys. We want to teach them how to follow those rules. Moving on over, we are continuing here in the blue to teach those rules, how to teach those rules. And we move on down. Of course, after we're done teaching those rules, we got to teach them the tell your neighbor or the teach okay. We got to teach them some 3-peats. Got to use that super improver team. And then our student engagement, or like Nancy pointed out, our student effort challenge, which is what, or not challenge, average. Let me say that again. Student engagement average or student effort average, which is how much effort are your students putting in. We would love to all see them have much more effort. And I would say to that friend out there who is a student teacher, be frank with the person that you're going to their classroom. Say, I've heard about whole brain teaching. It's a brain-based method of teaching, and it gets the students fully engaged, and that's what I'd like to use teaching the classroom. Generally speaking, I'm a mentor teacher. that's your time to shine. When we start to release the class to you is when you're going to try out and use strategies that are most comfortable for you. But if you feel like she might need a bigger sell on that, I would just start out by just telling her, this is what I'm planning on doing, and maybe pick out one of the videos to show her of a classroom at the grade level that you're a student teaching in, which is kindergarten. Show her a little classroom video and show her what that kindergarten classroom looks like, and hopefully you'll get the blessing there. So I'm going to jump off, guys. I got to run to an appointment. Thank you guys for being here. And if you caught this on the replay, thank you for being here. And I will be back next week at 4 o'clock Pacific time so that we can chat again about starting off the year and continuing on with whole brain teaching. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.